We're going to start the recitation. Recite with me, please.
Chenmo Jungden de Deshin Shepan Rachompa Yanda Barazobe Sangye Ripa Dan Shasun Dimba Devara Shepa Jidin Chenpa Jevu Duve Kalu Yirpa Lana Meba Laya Mena Ke Tumba Sangye Jungden de Pejewa Shayan Tuba La Shatalu Yudu Jazan Shehu Chomba Jungden de Jin Chamba Ra Chomba Yanda Sobe Sanje Ripa Dan Shasu Temba Devara Shep Jidin Chamba Jeve Menange Domba Sange Jomden de Pejewa Shagya Tuba La Shasu Lo Chudo Kyasu Shiva Dumba Jumben de Deshin Sheba Rajumba Yanda Barizobe Sange Riba Dan Shasu Demba Devara Sheba Jidin Jemba Jevu Duve Kalu Yira Lana Meba Lada Menange Dumba Sange Jumden de Pejewa Shagya Tuba La Shasu Chudu Kyasu Shiva Ane so kyo tamze Zajin de la gomba temborne Ane jidin de na choche song Tese jeva jola ja sel Nanda puma chodo zuzongma Yeshe gyazo serge lumbora Rava jidin suna lamewa Gombo chunye jola ja sel Penjo demba jime dave sha, sedo trawa kyola sha, tude jula seva suma ji, nyame kinjin kyola sha, kumbo tuje jendemba, tamje kebe demba po, sona yede gyazo jik, tejin kyola sha, Tabe de ja chewa gir, geve nyezo le zho sing, kiko dana zhigyu ba, shigyu chela cha, rone chove layang de, laba dala rade ne, shinje damba yende de, gindu layang cha, deva cheyang meja sing, gewa pusu sober gir, Range sene yonsu de tene sange tembai karma rabi marme dan yuma seba shubur dan mula lodan tenda bu deji chuna didarta sona diye tamche seba yi goba doni gönge radı de Gada nada shibe lapchube sibe sole ro
To the founder, page 3, the endowed transcendent destroyed, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When the supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then I prostrate. With your bodies formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme sign, face like the spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. the purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that Dharma which pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path of liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by waves of aging, sickness, and death.
Baba Kunjo Sona Chava Tano Dege Dage Toba Deje Na Chondene Yabuga Jago Bumbo Relong Gelong Ye Gindu Jimbo Dan Janju Sembe Gindu Jimbo Dan Ta Chitri Kude De Se Chomdende Samo Nangwa Shijawe Chugi Nanrangi Denge Dela Nyombarashu Desi, Janju Semba Semba, Chimbo Papa Chinese Wancho Cherabji Paro de Chimba Samo Jibo Nila Nambar Tajim Pumbo Mambo de Dalaya, Ranjingi Tombar Nambar Tao, Tene Sange Tu Sedan Demba Sharibu, Janju Semba Semba Jimbo Papa Chinese Wancho La Deke Chemeso. Sharibu Rigibu Galala Ribu Galala Sherabge Baru Dujimba Samu Cheba Shubu Duba Dejidar Labarja Degeje Mebada Janju Simba Simba Shimbu Pava Jireze Wanjugi Sedan Demba Sharida Debula Degeje Meso Sharibu Rigibu Rigibu Mo Galala Sherabge Baru Dujimba Samu Cheba Chuba Duba Dejidar Nambar Tawar Chate Kumbo Ngabo Dedalaya Ranjingi Tombar Namba Yanda Bar Jesu Tao Tombani Zuzo Zule Tombani Shemayin Tombani Lekyan Shemayin No Dejindu Sorvadan Dijedan Nambar Shebana Tombao Charibu de Tarshu Danje Tombani de Tsini Meba Mageba Magaba Tima Meba Tima Dan Tiwa Meba Kangwa Meba O Sharibu de Tawena Tombani La Zume Sorvame Dujiname Nambar Sheba Bime Nawame Name Cheme Lume Yime Zume Drame Chime Rome Rejame Chume Domigi Game Bane Ige Kame Ige Nambar Shebe Kange Bardu Yamedo Mariba Me Mariba Seba Me Bani Me Kashi Sebe Bardu Yamedo Ejindu Dunga Wadam Kunjung Wadam Gobadam Lami Yishime Toba Me Madoba Yamedo Sharibu Deda Wena Changjuk Simba Nam Toba Me Bichir Shirabgi Barudu Jimba Latin Jing Nede Simla Jiba Mejing Traba Me De Chinji Lode Shindu Dede Nyangele Debe Tar Shindu Duzundu Nabra Shube Sange Tanje Kyan Shirabgi Barudu Jimba Latin Lana Me Yanda Bar Zobe Changjuk Mumbar Zobar Sange So Deda Wena Shirabgi Barudu Jimbe Ma Riba Jimbe Ma Dana Mebe Ma Minya Badanya Benga Tunga Tanjera De Shivar Shibema Mizu Bena Dembar Shivar Shade Shiragi Barudu Shimbema Meba Tayada Gade Gade Para Sangade Bodhi So Charibu Janju Simba Simba Shimbu De Shiragi Barudu Shimba Samola Labar Chao Tene Chomdende Tingi Zindele Shenge Janju Semba Semba Chumbu Pava Chirize Wanchu La Lekso Shejawa Jine Lekso Rigi Pu Tede Shino Tede Shinde Chidar Gege Temba Shinde Sherage Barudu Chimba Samola Chibar Jate Teji Shaba Nam Gyanje Yerang Chomden Deje Dege Cheka Tsene Sedan Demba Sharada De Buddha Janju Semba Semba
Chenmo Baba Jereze Wachoda Tamjeda Dembe Kor Dedadan Hadam Bidan Hamayandan Jizajebe Dide Yerade Chomden Deje
Sumbala
Membare Page 11. Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgriha on Vulture's Peak, together with a great assembly of monks and bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was totally absorbed in the concentration that examines all phenomena, called profound illumination. And at the same time, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, was engaged in the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra spoke to the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, how should those of good family learn who wish to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond? Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, replied to the Venerable Shariputra, saying, O Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of good family wishes to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, should look at it like this, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Form is empty. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is no other than form. Form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, karmic formations, and consciousness are all empty. Therefore, Shariputra, all phenomena are empty without characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are neither impure nor free from impurity. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no karmic formations, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. There are no spheres of the eyes, up to no spheres of the mind. There are none of these all the way up to the sphere of mental consciousness. Nor is there destruction of ignorance. There are none of these all the way up to there is no old age and death, nor is there destruction of old age and death. Thus there is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. There is no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, all bodhisattvas hold to the wisdom gone beyond. Because there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. But passing utterly beyond falsity, they reach beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times, by relying on the wisdom gone beyond, fully and clearly awakened to unsurpassed, most perfect and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the wisdom gone beyond, the mantra of great insight, the unequaled and unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering should be known as the truth, for there is no deception. The mantra of the wisdom gone beyond is proclaimed. Ayatha Gate Para Sambatshe Bodhiso. O Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn the profound. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and praised the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, very good, O son of good family. It is exactly like that. The profound wisdom gone beyond should be practiced exactly as you have said, and then the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the noble Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, men, anti-gods, and spirits, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. So in the noble discourse on the essence of the wisdom gone.
뭐야, 하드링도 사니 마켓에라 자니 로튼데 남림 람지림바 람지림바 세야텔라 다마도 삼 자체가 람지림바다 삼을 람지림바 상아서 냠내 책 바이니고 어디에 모터 책 되더래서
Now it is Sunday, and we resume the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. Instruction is in this, the lesson of the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, a path with stages, particularly the two stages of the path of extensive deeds and the lineage of profound view, these two in particular.
이나네 다단단도 또 뭐시에 람지림바디 갸체가 람지림바스 다 갸체가 람지림바스 근데 또 냠내 책은 탑기를 메고 냠수나야 아니 람지림바디 또 지금 시기 요래 아니 셜라 사물 람지림바디 오 람림이 딱 주주 텐도 마 람지림바디 텐단 간데스나 갸체가 람지림바디 뭐스 텐네 사물 람지림바디 슈라 때버치기 그래서
of these two, the stages of the path of extensive deeds and the profound view, here, in the context of the great treatise, particularly, it is the vast path and its stages that is explicitly presented. This is the method aspect of the path and its stages. Implicit in this presentation is the profound view. So how is the presentation made? Directly and explicitly of the path and its stages of extensive deeds, with embedded in it and implicit the profound view. In the stages of the path of extensive deeds that is concerned with the method aspect itself is made up of practices of compassion and love, from which develop the mind of awakening itself, bodhicitta, and then these inform their enactment in the paramitas that are the 6 paramitas. These culminate in the achievement of the ground of Buddhahood itself. All of these are practices of the method aspect named with the epithet, the stages of the path of extensive deeds.
Oh yeah, tanda yachewe lamji rimbati ani ngaranda tanda rani tene lamri lembala laba gozu bane so de jebu sanji ji goba sai matoji patola ani ya ta lamla rimbachi ya drogo ya lamji rimbati inza ani lamji rimbas chen mingta ge yore so.
The stages of the path of extensive deeds spans every step from the beginning for any person embarking on the path that culminates in the achievement of the ground of Buddhahood, and every incremental step in between, every step by step along the way. And in this way, it is a path of stages.
Oh, sedata inde indi ta lamji rimbala lop sedi ani rangi rimba thambo labela tösam gosumji gone labugo yere thambo töba tene sama tene gomba chen ani rangi jula jebar thama gombe lam jula jebar chen ani rangi da nyam langzudi ani tösam gosumji gone nyamsu langzudi langore so.
So the stages of the path in their training entail study and then contemplation of what is studied, and then meditation upon what is contemplated, such that in the end, the path of meditation is achieved.
사실상 다 저선 고숨 제약이 터바 제약이 롱들은 어디 롱기 쳐들라 아니 가리어서나 롱기 쳐들라 롱되는 숨 어디 터바 제약들 롱되는 숨로 터바 제 아니 터바 제바데 300권은 냠서 라운드도 랑기 줄라 깨야들 라바숨이 냠내데 랑기 줄라 깨바 제거래서.
In the progression of study, contemplation, and meditation, that which is studied is the scriptural dharma composed of the 3 baskets, the Tripitaka. These are studied, and from their study emerges the contemplations that inform the mind in such a way that the mind is imbued with the 3 higher trainings.
Oh, dincheda azu lamji rimba nyamsu langzu dinchen langore cheda ta lamji rimba ngosu laayade ani gyachewe lamji rimba dire gyachewe lamji rimba rangi gyula kebar chebala oma rangi gyula ke tuwege chagin sonamge so gyachimbo sabu yore di sabe chirisula ani ngondu yowe churu mushi chanjuge semje lamji rimba gomba ani jugdu da 아니 로베 창규주 고방원도 제 어떻게 지금 냠수랑 그래서.
In the practice itself, in the way that it is performed, such that it is the path of extensive deeds, one begins developing the mind of awakening, first by accumulating the merit that is required in order to develop it. Toward this end, one engages in the preliminary practices, the 6 preliminary practices, which are followed by the actual meditation that is for the development of the mind of awakening.
Oh, that in the about out Chanjuga Sim Gule, Chanjuga Sim Rangi Gula, Gabriel Chever Chidu, and it's so Jachimbo Savi Chidula, Joe Chudu in Yamne, 2 Changas over it. Oh, that you go away, do that Joe Chudu in Yamne, and that Tambonga. Mazu that she seen, that Mazu Tadongos she they are the God, Joe Chuba, and it that Georgia Kessan Dingies. Joshua get something, yes, study Sunday. Any that, but that Joshua to go Korangi Mingla Karsena, Manga Juda, Tengas Chawas, Lame Manga, the Rangi Shiju, anybody to Chula Chush, Jabana Shich and the Jabach and the Yams language you into, Manga Juda, Tengas Chawas, and Mingden. And it to have a Sunday fella, get something, yes, or the living tag response.
For the development of the mind of awakening in a person's continuum, the accumulation of merit must be performed. To this end, the practice of the 6 preliminaries, which we turn our attention to, the first 5 of which we have completed, leaving us contemplating the 6th. This is the integration of the oral instruction with one's own continuum. We now turn to the ornament on a throat, ornament to the throat of the fortunate. The ornament to the throat of the fortunate is this text that sets aside the 6 preliminary practices for the purpose of integrating the oral instruction with one's mind, such that it resembles water mixed with water. This text now, ornament to the throat of the fortunate.
Oh, the Sunday Mindred in Chilab Jula Shubala, Sunday Piongoya, Zen Rodi, and Lamegi Tugi, Yene Rangi Jula, Laberchi, Laberchebala, Toma Chilab the Juba Chebala, Sunday Mindred, Sunday the Mena, and Chilab Juba Cheva, your Marcena, so what there was born, so what the Matana, Chilab Rangi Jula Jugumare. Cheta Chilab Rangi Jula Juba Chidu, Sunday Piogo, Seda, Mazutanda, Chanju Sim Yumushi. Lamji Ribati Rangi Topa Jula Kevis Chidula, Anime Sunday Mende, Sunday, Ani, the Yad Ketchum Chade or Seda, Tananga, Sunday, Ani Poneta, Yuzi Pepsan Chia gives somebody. I want to share Love Zenti response.
The petitioning is critical to the blessings of the Guru penetrating the mind. Without the petition, the blessings of the Guru do not penetrate the mind. The qualities of the Guru would penetrate the mind with the petition and the subsequent bestowal of the blessing. And so to this end, the petition is made so that the actual meditation itself may succeed in the mind. The petition is made so that the blessings are bestowed.
Oh, the Chesan, he did the Madame around the Sunday with Mindred, Chedan, Sunday with so the Jula, that Lama Susu with Chashik Tony. The movement of Mongolia, Inaya Tandanga Zudi, Lamrim Yulam, so Chini, and Sunday Mindred don't go yard. Oh, Chedan Lamrim Parangi, Lamring, Bubeg, Lama. Yeah, Rangi, nothing in Nangaloku, and tell us what that. Oh, near much love shoot to the Bezan.
And so the descent of purificatory nectar. Now in the blessings, involved in the conferral of the blessing is the descent of this nectar and light. There are various traditions of practice in various lineages. We draw our practice from the swift path. We concentrate on this, the swift path, and develop the technique based on this. In space before one, one visualizes the merit field and there directs the petition.
Oh yeah, Sedanta, Seda, the Indu Zambata, Sunday Minje, Mazu de Lamjo Gonje, Chilap Toba, Jula Kevala, Sunday Tongo, Sunday, and the Duzi Pejan Chegwadi, and the Hajangi, Yamleg, Ne, Chimbuchabi or Resons.
Now, this for the development of realization in the mind, for the success and progress in the mind, the petition of critical importance, so that the blessing is bestowed through the descent of this purificatory light and nectar.
Oh yes, that's some Jula Kever Chebala, Rangita, Tapto, Kasik Chimbo, Tuzu Mangotang, and Yamne Jula Chen, Toba Jula Kea Yore, Young Kasik Chunjunche, Lam Yurbu. Tapshi Samu Yamsutene and Topo Yudu Joy, and take a tap to the River Mango or Resons.
Now, for developing bodhicitta, there are techniques that require intensive hardship, a great deal of time, and then the realizations occur. And there is another means by which less hardship is entailed. The method is very effective, such that realization develops very quickly.
Oh yeah, and I'm better Chashabaina, Susula Tobjadoji, Tobja Chimbuchik, and it's for the logic ni coordinate Tobia Yobaya Yore, Yan Tobja Tedan, Tobja Chipachijan, to do Yubu, Yamachi, to the Chigin, Tobia in the Yorwa, or Tina Shin Kandako Rangi, Tobjaki, Rangi, Banana, that's larger Karina, Yeva Tobu Yuna. I don't go to the logic of Matomatoya, Yan to the Tundina top to Yak in the Yorwa, or the Nashin onto the Lami, by Yamachi, do not get the Chiba Yoresons.
Now, for example, in any achievement, any goal one has, it might require a year's time or 2 years' time. There also might be such a scenario in which the same achievement may come to pass in a day's time or a week's time through an especially effective technique or means. Now, here in an ordinary sense, you have a goal of some kind, perhaps a salary at the year's end, a reward at the year's end, and it requires a year. But it is possible, another scenario where less time is required. Now here, this is such an instance, the path and its results ensured more quickly.
Oh yes, that the dig Tobjedi, logic of the Toguyoba, Toba Yimba, it is Chigdan to do Yamachini, the Chen Tobia Yuba, Tobja Nibuti, and called conduct Tabjik channel, Yobu Tobia Yoba did. Shogoro, Tab the Madama in the Yobo Tobia Tabamarwa, and that into the mud, under Suzuku Tobja, the Yobo Tobia Titula, and the Rangi on the Tobja, Tobia Yimata, go Tobja Yimata, Tabchen, Tobu Yoba, or the Sheba or was, or just a dinner she, around the Yan and the Lamji River Yamsulabi, Chipobe, gave up the give up of the Yamsulan Guagi, the digging Yamlin chick, and 탑시게 토네 뒤뒤뒤지라 랑게 토백이 근데 고급이 여바 이나 아니 토백이 탑을 랑게 땡고로 와서
The achievement that requires 1 year versus the very same achievement requiring only 1 day. That there is the objective to be achieved and it is the same, but that through an effective technique, it may be secured more rapidly. Without application of this technique, the use of this technique, that swift achievement isn't possible. Now here, the achievement, understand that the achievement is the same. The result is the same. There is a method available, a means toward securing it more quickly. There is the first approach that requires many eons. And then there is another approach whereby one utilizes the most effective method and more swiftly achieves the result.
거의 탑랑이 신기 매바 있나 아니 탑치 두고 말어 탑땡 두고 말어 왔어. 일단 탑시행으로 탑시행 받쳐 봐라 탑이 당보랑이 퇴바도 계시고 퇴차는 랑이 되는 거. 삼백고는 냠슬랑 아니 그 탑제티 탑으로 왔어. 대나신 다 단단하고 유지 별장게 뭐 선대면 안다 선대 남조 공제게 토네 유지 별장 제디 아니 하장게 또뭐 줄레지하게 탑 하장게 사보 Yurbu, or the leggy or the Yamne, Chimbo Resigo, the leggy resons.
unfamiliar with the method, one cannot conceivably employ the method. So one must familiarize oneself with the method, and one does this through study. Following study, one may contemplate it, and then through the petitioning and the descent and purification by light and nectar, the very one prescribed in the ornament to the throat of the fortunate. We find a method that is profound, very swift, and for these reasons emphasized as most important.
어딘데 다 근데 인도전보다 선대 슈유 이거 질라고 있지 선대 표사선에서 질라 슈유디다 가장 더 시야게 라마 동안 댕아서 다디 당고 동안 댕아던 건지 약고 시작을 해서.
So then the petition is directed to the merit field. The direction of the petition being these 5 groups of gurus, and these 5 groups of gurus must be identified.
야, 다단다 대시주 시야게 질 유번이 당고 시야디 자진 주주지 라마스. 모두 그도 자진 주주고 라마 줍시. 아니 저기 초신나라. 한가나라 디제나라 지원 나신 진단다 지시 제가 요 이나 수수 냠면치도 이 얘기도 뺐다서도 오래마도 냠면치도 수수기다. 단다 수수기 규바다 라마도 미다미다 연구로 와. 제가 다당도 얘기 지시하게 탕가게 나기 얘기 초신 거다 나신 진 지시 제가 요래서
An important lineage within these 5 are the lineage of extensive deeds, which includes 14 particular gurus. Their arrangement in visualization follows from their arrangement in the scroll paintings. But each person in their practice has their particular lineage gurus. The scroll painting is an example, a model. Now we, in our presentation of the arrangement of the merit field, base it upon the scroll painting.
예, 세상다 다들 집에 나지지는 예를 야진 주주고 라마 줍시 유연을 사무다 유기 당기 유연어도 사무다 주지 라마 두 아니 잡라 칠라 냠네 칠라 주기 라마 될라다 라마 데스 잠깐만 보여 잠깐 될라 냠네 칠라 주기 라마 고당 될라다 단다 람리 코라나지 제바 있는 라마 니슈코샤로 손으로지.
To the right are the 14 gurus of the lineage of extensive deeds. To one's left are the 7 gurus of the lineage of profound view. So this is to one's left, where there are the 7 gurus of the lineage of profound view. And behind one is the lineage of blessed practice, which involves innumerable gurus, but in the arrangement, according to the great treatise, 20 are identified there.
예, 다당기 추정원토 사회 라마기 규바 이띵기 난갈라 거고래 빌라다 단다 거야 될라 세상 코로나는 거단 전에 잠깐 이슈고 샤를 해서로지.
Ale.
띵기 난갈라.
Tingin nam gila. Ale gap ani di gap la mara.
잡을때 이제 칠럽 규바 라마.
Ani dela ani nisu yo mara. Ala man nisu.
이슈 담배양 이슈 특이요.
Ale nikala. Ani tingdu dang gap la. La. And the lineage of the gurus upon whom one has relied directly are placed in space above one. There too, there are 20.
예, 다른 게 추정원토 사회 라마티 단다 특이잖아. 제르무제 얍세 숨고샤 제압세 숨고샤 다딜 수수게 라마 지금도 매네 마고나 지거 야 망보 숨주시 병합주거나 지거 간데 수수 최소 손정모 수터베 라마 되게 당게 배팅이 난갈 마고제 난게 와랑다 배 틸 요거를 쓰지 거 그래서
Ale chile. Ani tingdu ani yapse.
라메게 라마
Directly overhead are the gurus of one's gurus, Chedzongkapa and 3 sons, and 2 heart sons. And then those gurus upon whom one has directly relied may be arranged about one on the same level.
Oh yeah, that is the mondo lama tela marang susu nyamne ching susu gi tanda ko tijenala jiabse sum tijar ine susu ko tanda mingwa chidu zaba gomdu so신 gomdu rangi chunje mondo gi lama kazu yena dige chasan ani tanda susu la she chidu gi namba chingi o teleji gombore eso.
These gurus upon whom one has directly relied, maybe one single guru, maybe 30 or 40. In the merit field of the guru's guru, there are Chetsongkhapa and sons, and then about one, the gurus upon whom one has relied, they may be 30, they may be 40.
Oh yeah, that rangi chunje mondo lama kazu yena be chamba sweba chin go bore ani koidu zamba mingwa chidu zamba lama bage kusu da ombo ma changwa de yena tinde gomjiwa mares yunjing ge namba chin do mago ma che inayang hamebe namba rangla chidu ge namba chin gomdu zamba yang chi kaje la chen meba da oda kaje be ombo je ma de de yena tinde gomjiwa mares kyung cha ta gyo mares no.
Each of these gurus upon whom one has directly relied should be recalled each by each, one by one, as they are arranged in the visualization. Where they had imperfections, physical imperfections, these are not to be included in the visualization and recalled. One does not revisualize imperfections. Nevertheless, these gurus appear just as they appeared to one when one relied upon them directly. If there were one that was blind, their blindness would not be revisualized.
That is it. That in it, the lama set up, sir. The lama set up, son, and it's so up. So up, son, and it's so up again, Chene, and it lame to never, so lame cool it to it. That was second, and my Junshun, Rangula, my sugar, you see Babata, and it Jama the baby, me what the children response.
With the gurus arranged, then the petition follows. The petition is made to the gurus, and this delights the guru. From the delighted guru, then emerges the light and nectar that descends from them, purifying and descending, purifying and descending.
Oh, yeah, so that do you publish about visit Abdul Chilo, we say Nanga Tony. Do you pave around the Magoya de la Mutu Shue de la Lamaka, you did to what you like Jedan de la publish about Juzi, send number much in the Pagu resonance.
In the descent of nectar, it is a 5-colored nectar that descends. There are siddhi that are bestowed by the descending nectar. They are the siddhi of the qualities in the mind of the guru. They descend from the guru in a nectar of 5 colors.
Oh, that in a Duzibel said that Ranama Pavagita, Mazu, that presents Yagmat Rangi Chula, the Tambo Duzibeba, and Jama Cheguadi, and Karichi to Chevares, Second or Chivadi, Duzibel Karichi to Chevares, Maranzola, and Mombata, and Chigi Chidavi, Tungetu, Chiwata Navi, Tungetu, Jomba Chiku, Tichitola. 아니 군조기 내디가 랑 줄에 깨바체 징길람 아니 랑이 줄에 개개 찾은 세바 치고 여러 가지는 디치돌라 소데 두지 배변 치고야디 아니 랑이 유 타고 랑이 유기 유모다 이모 디샤베 아니 다 바게 제부 동에 이게 강가 타고 치고 여러 디치돌 두지 배변 치기 어려서
Light and nectar descend, penetrating one's mind. What for? Why do it? Why visualize the descent of nectar? The descent of nectar quells the Lord of Death, sicknesses, and ignorance. The blessings take the form of nectar. The descent of nectar cleanses the mind of obstacles. that must be removed. The purpose of the descent of nectar is to purify the mind of the klesha and the results of those klesha that are pain.
가랑주고다 뒤지 배전시는 장고야 조 유용한도 용다도 뒤지 배전시는 장고야 조데라 아니 가랑주고다 리바이시 귤라 게마주니 좀바치니 몽바 마리바 몽바 마리바 세제기 치돌라 아니 뒤지다 아니 마 대기 왕게 동에 치워 다조 치다래 치다 치외 지고 좀 치돌라 아니 왜 세르신 어디를 지미고 치야요 그래서
Chitani karisani rikta yeshi la barje tankin sode ane de ani marikpa di sevil marikpa dan marikpa ki wangi ani chida chikta langin de ani chomyala duziba
뒤지 디와 뒤지다 세인
So in the descent and purification by light and nectar, the way that we do it, as we do it, the purpose for it is particularly to eliminate that which interferes with the development of reasoned wisdom, that is, ignorance. From ignorance, too, emerges the fearsome, particularly the Lord of Death, to quell the Lord of Death, the ignorance that, and the ignorance underlying it, the descent of light and nectar.
Oh, yeah, that. 이게 지난 지용 찬이 되지. 다 단단 가서 미스 값과 당보 가서 거는 마치니 계산 가서 제 심박이다. 야진 주주고 라마를 받게 장가잡니 가서 딜을 뒤지 배전 제에 가로 셰사로와. 그래서 야진 주주고 라마되게 난갈라 그거 받딜래 랑요 소와답니 뒤집밥니 다 랑이 줄라 또바 가리게 와서는 야채에 남지를 봐. 야채에 남지 리베 똑바 낄라 깨발라 봐도 쪄바기 아니 개개인 탐제 다 봐지 아니 이 다발라 되네 랑이 줄라 아니 야채에 남지 리바 당 아니 야채에 남지 리바 줄라 깨송 삼배 미고티 쳐오래 손으로
This is the general outline. The specifics for us are in the arrangement of the lineage of extensive deeds. The lineage of extensive deeds and all of its members are arranged in visualization as they are arranged, then the petition is made to them. From them descend light and nectar. With the descent of light and nectar, that which interferes and prevents the development of realization in one's mind are purified. With the descent of the purificatory light and nectar, those obstacles are purified. With their purification, then, too, one imagines, one conceives of oneself as having developed the realizations of that lineage.
뭐에 하다가서 간다들이 접대도 또 사상도 셈기띵이 바자되게 좀 셈기띵이 아니 샤비다 니모데 샤베 바자되게 좀 바처럼 때티나신 아주 룰로서 삼았던 게 있나야 한다 룰 하나도 룰 샤르 되지 공부 차다 나다 루베게 되게 미상을 룰이 아니 딜라양 아니 뒤지 법합니 아니 양 이게 랭에를 루이디 파 장네 외지 라신전도 조소 삼바 델레 미고치네 되게 어려서
This is the conceptualization involved in the mind as the light and nectar descends, that the light and nectar cleanse the mind of the klesha and all the dormancies caused by the klesha. But then too, if we were to consider the body as well, this body that is composed of flesh, blood, plasma, this body is purified by the descent of light and nectar and becomes luminous and limpid.
오예 다 대선에 계제디 바 장산은 수 줄을 다 모두 토배하도록 갔다 아니 튀진 세다 손은 롱도기 연대다 롱도 도배기 연대 오 대다 탐제랑 게 줄을 배 계속 삼 내가 때문에 치고래서
With the removal of the hindrances and obstacles to the development of realization, one then conceives of oneself as having developed enhanced lifespan, autonomy, merit, and as having developed the qualities of scriptural realization.
오예 다티나지 다티네가도 야채를 남겨 좀 벌어 주지 배변 세상 교수님 같이 지단 들어오면 시에서 다 연구 건직 시에버와 다티나지 삼을 남겨 좀 봐. 아니 규백 남아 가정도 담아 잡사들이 땡기 나갈고 텔레 주지 법. 아니 밤에 다 랑기 야채 삼을 남겨 좀 봐게. 아니 또봐 줄에 제외 계신 탐제 봐장 아니 장산에 아니 랑기 줄 아니 다 동문이 또 배셔 줄 계속 삼배
These are the particulars of the visualization of the lineage of extensive deeds, the descent of nectar, and it is a review. We do the same with the lineage of profound view. Arrange the lineage of profound view in space. Having arranged them, visualize the descent of purificatory light nectar. With that descent, hindrances and obstacles to the development of realization are removed. And with their removal, the wisdom of realizing emptiness is developed in the mind.
람지르바 주베 라주 대당 아니 삼을 람지르베 라주 니가 소 찍도 드네 아니 냠네 칠렙 주베 라마사 한다 코니가 냠네 다 다지나지 수수도 마지바체 소 니가 냠도 제토 제네 아니 냠네 소아데 주지밤네 아니 또 원니가 냠도 제베 미과 체 지도라 아니 냠네 칠렙 주베 좀 봤어 어디 레고요 그래서
So the descent and purification by light and nectar. And today, where we have the lineage of extensive deeds and the lineage of profound view, there is too the lineage that is the integration of both, integrated into a lineage of blessed practice, so that the realizations and the practices of the two lineages aren't conceived of as separate, but are integrated so that both realizations of both lineages are found in the single lineage of blessed practice.
Oh, that is that Nyamni chilab juni sen nyamdo chea de la nyam lamji rimba de la carriers na Jachewe lamji rimba ne carishiers na chanju sem gombe rimba Yunde menga duji lamji rimba de sheores Samuel lamji rimba ne carishiers na 아니 다시 냠제게 람지를 받으시오. 다 니가 또 냠도 잘니 냠도 램바 쳐야지. 아니 냠을 질러 주베기 라마 좀 주디다 질러내한테 레송.
The practices that follow from mixing and integrating the lineage of extensive deed and the lineage of extensive deeds and the lineage of profound view are first from the lineage of extensive deeds, the stages in the path for the development of bodhicitta, that is, namely, the sevenfold cause and effect oral instruction. This sevenfold cause and effect oral instruction from the lineage of extensive deeds. It is integrated with the practice of the lineage of profound view, namely, the exchanging and equalization of self and other. These two are integrated into the lineage of gurus with their practice of the blessed lineage.
일단 냠랭이 주버그 당보도 야와 도지 창고 그래. 야와 도지 창네 잠배야. 근데 자세 좀 보시오라. 어디 막 주바치니 말해서
the Zamotagyu.
말은
말을렀어.
냠년치를 주고
라라라. 알레라 아니
도리장
도리장
잠배야네 마 아니 제세 전부 쉬워라 어떻게 기분
The lineage of blessed practice. His progenitor is Vajradhara, from Vajradhara, Manjushri, from Manjushri, Shantideva.
그래서 어디니 냠년이 됐네 저거다 되니 마제는 주바다 타마타마 라마슬링 바냐니 저 아디샤네 좀 돼봤어 안 되는 말 규제다 냠년치도 주바되게 열어서
This then the integration of the two in the lineage of blessed practice. As it continues onward, it flows through Suvarnadvipa, Atisha, and Dromtumpa. These are the gurus of the lineage of blessed practice.
뭐였다? 냠년치를 주바 숨들이서 다 이내다 디바돌 이제 야진주주 사모다주 냠년치를 주발라마 숨체 다 되니 마제네 다 가담티 디르버티 올라주 코이도 잠바 다 가담에 라마스코 그래서
Here then are three groups of gurus, then the gurus of the lineage of extensive deeds, the gurus of the lineage of profound view, and the guru of the lineage of blessed practice. Then beneath these, the Kadampa masters.
야, 가담베 림바텔라 아니 가담바테 좀 조지네 저좀 되버지 저좀 되버니 마체네 아니 남리기 친이 지다한테 아니 친이 지다면서 릭숨 유바도 숨 열에스 가담 람림바 가담 맹아바 가담 당보디 가담 람림바체 네 가담 슝바바체 아니 가담 맹아바세 코나 냠네 지다면서 릭숨체 근데 유바 숨 속여서
With the stages of the path of the Kadamba, beginning with Atisha, passing through Dromtompa. After Dromtompa, the lineage branches into three that are the path Kadampa, the scripturalist Kadampa, and the oralist Kadampa, these branching lineages.
예, 제가 좀 잠깐만요. 좀 이해하디 가자 따지난 유바 좀 유바들에 이나야 콘조가 냠년치당 때때 수수고 지금 라메게 로마 쫑당디 rem바디 냠년치당 되지 rem바게 돈에 유바 숨도 요거요. 그래서
지금 규바칙 얘는 경당 문자와 라 진인게 경당 제문자 얘는 규바칙도 라
유바 찍스네다 하나 콘조 유바 찍도 차그래 이네다 라마를 이루경 개개인의 로마를 최시류도 뭐 대세나면 레베유는 유바순 장가지고 그래서
branching, the branches are three. They are of a shared lineage, but in the extending of the lineage through instruction from disciple to student, there are differences. These differences are cause for counting three branches of what is like a shared lineage, but in the way that the disciple confers the teachings upon in the way that the instructor confers the teachings upon the disciple, differences in these cause for three branches.
다 당보대 가는 람림바싱이다. 엄마 람리치모 맞제고는 남아도 냠년치야 가리어스나 데림스 템베르버스 자와디로와 다보바게 제베 데림스 여러와 데림당 아니 다 람드렌서 줄 람지림바도 조 실라샤네 로마라다 람기림바테나 조 체니 냠슬랑게 요바인자 콜 람림바스 맹다레서.
Now, before the composition of the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, in the tradition of Dakoba and the stages of reliance upon the teachings, and in the text that is the lamp on the path to enlightenment, these texts were taken as basis for practices that are the practices of the path Kadampa.
다 되니 마치네 라마람리바 주바치기 가르쳐랬으나 아니 자주 남지 림바디 아니 좀 되게 깨럽체 솜체 아니 저 전부 공부 좀 사대가 아니 도대게 러브 준주 중다 두스 자르네 아니 뒤절라 말 남지 림바 러브기 와인자 콜라 가담 슝바 와스밍 다레서
Voilà.
이게 되게 명예서
Yani somdan
깨럽체 솜체 사대가체 도대게체
Voilà.
러브
Voilà.
러브들 뒤니어다 고불루도 러브다 시월로 러브니 현준주
Voilà.
슝초다 자르네 나도 제시 제가 요인자 콜라 가담 슝바 와스밍 다레서
The scripturalist Kadampa took 6 canonical texts as their basis: the Udanavarga, the 5 collection of texts of Maitreya, the Sutra Alamkara, the Sutra Samuchaya of Nagarjuna and Shantideva, and the Bodhicharya Avatara. 6 texts, basis of the scripturalist Kadampa.
오야 다 디네마 가담 주바치 가자기 제 보도 명아 주바스 아니 라메 명아 라마 코라기 냠네 가르치기 어디 베 미천로 bü제 되네 아니 명아 랍제 베 명아 조 친 냠슬랑기 요바이자 콜라카타 명아 바스메 다레소
The interpreter corrects if Jataka tales wasn't included. This is the interpreter's oversight. Jataka tales as well. And in the oralist Kadamba, beginning with Potoa, it is the lineage of the oral instruction, the basis of practice being oral instructions there.
오야 다 라마디게 참가시켜비 네 토카니 나가
Now I'm going to count them, and if you'd like to mark these.
이게 이 조지 따오
Last Sancho letter.
야야
Control. I'll take a drink of water. Excuse me.
오야 다 담보 뒤 방어서 담보 가담 람림바 된다. 가담 람림바 생기라. 내 좀 반대 고바 왔어. 이니서 람림바
몰랐어.
모두 내 좀 반대 고바 왔어. 이제
Last one.
yes. 고바 왔어. 아니 내수 봐. 상모 댄지 되면 내수가 되게 되는 건지 탐마 왔어. 아마 숨지.
Here they are. Then first the scriptural kadampa, beginning with kombawa, followed by nesurpa and takmapa, holder of the entire Vinaya basket. These are the first three.
어이 다른 이바텔라. 좀버 혼련 제바 나가 되와 남 좀버 주벌 혼련 나게 남생체 나가 남생체 남배지로 나가 제보 지된 취재 보면서 자세 상부샤로 소트 남았습니다.
No, number Gilbo.
나가 제보세
No.
생기 상부
Low.
Followed by Namka Senge, Namka Gelpo, Senge Sangbo. There are three.
그렇지요. 아니 자주도 그러고 사회 이제 나가 진짜로 소하다 나가 진짜 그러면 뒤에 지금 나가 진짜 나만 지금 하자.
Number
그분도 지금 하벨라 이대로 나가 진짜로 담아가면 지금 하자.
Tiangyer di good, good just
구말 뒤에 지금 담아 시들 나만 지금 나가 진짜
Janjuk took in Jun.
보시세 하벨라 뮤직 매를 거기 시간 나만 지금 나가 진짜
Let's Namagis. Followed by Namka Gelsen, a 4-verse stanza, all describing one guru here, Namka Gelsen.
일단 나만 뒤에 차서 남리 비교에 나만 뒤인도와
There then are the seven Lamrimba, bro. Lamrimba, the seven gurus of the path Kadampa. Path Kadampa.
어디 자진 주주고 남에게 와들 이 림바 숨스 파린도 예로 그 초바지 끼를 초바지 탈을 끼들은 남림바 거고 했습니다.
In the three branches, the Lamrimba da and the Mengakpala Sapatiki Kila and the Lamrimba, right?
또 가담 흉바와요. 대 남림바요. 대 맹아바.
The path Kadampa are in the center of these three. On the left are the scripturalist Kadampa. The center, the path Kadampa. To the right, the oralist Kadampa.
하여튼에 가담 디 람림바 차와세다. 가담 람림바 차자네 가담 디레다. 이바들라 가담 흉바와입니다. 가담 흉바와이나 여러분 아주 맹아바시 가담 맹아바. 맹아바디 아무들에게 계획신이 좀 보도하세. 샤라와세. 한 정도 가면 제가와. 숨제.
This is followed by the oralist Kadampa, beginning with Podowa, followed by Sharawa, and finally the third Chekawa.
숨가나 딸 운동하다 자선 집어와세. 제명원은 저 제명lungo 원주 개배초 개조세. 안 감성주가 고버를 뭐지 내대 첨부스나 소화돼 아마 숨제.
Followed by these three, Chilbuba, Lungi Wangchuk, and Njoe Kombo.
어저 고모 숨제. 아마 초차소아.
Here 6, right?
다디 걸어 뛰어들 다들 아마 숨제 남다 수령에 대해서 산제바. 도와보든가다 청아 충의 자속 먼저봐. 저의 템바스나 소화돼 아마 숨제.
Followed by 3 gurus, Sang Chenpa, Sun Nawa, Mundrapa. These are 3.
안데 어 라마 치르다 사비 제일 좋은 거 걔네로 치르도 반대 라메셔서 소 라마 치르 치르서 보스. 아,
진짜
이거 최대 가지다 사비 제일 좋은 거 아니에 봐.
난다 산지
걔는
버선도
좋아하고
먼저
치르서 못 담바 제자 반대 라메셔서 소.
되네 아니 자신 게시 줄라 아니비 네 가든 로군
치르.
다 최근 게서 타르슨 먼저 봐 저의 짐바 숨라 소완데 되네
좀 차소아.
라
다디네 사비 제일 좋은 거 아니에 봐.
라
걔는 좋아하고 이제 치르서 못 담바 제자 봐.
알레 친내 zambo je 친내 zambo je chik 되네
어, 라마 지금 전동 줄.
no and followed by 친내 zambo the list now coming to 10
야, 다디 까담 나바세. 다디네 까담 알레디 까담 디 슝바와 시작한다 보다. 안다 슝바를 명하버리면 되다.
this is actually not the oral list but the scriptural list kadampa here these 10
오케이. 다디네 까담 명하바디 주변 온주치 뭐 추진바 직체. 아니 신이 추진 때문에 신의 신이체. 티존남자 제제 개공부 제회스 보수나 소화됩스. 명하바 라마 숨체.
here the first three of the oral list kadampa tsuchumbar shonu and
여러분
gergombawa
이거 봐. 숨체.
these are three
다디가 민주인데 산제 은체 담배치로 나가지보다 기대 취지법에서 계속 상부치로 아마 trou도
and three more sange namga gelbo and senge zambo now there are 6 here in the oral list kadampa
다디네 나무 담배 고를 나가디레 자주도로 하면 나가지 제셔서 소화될 수 아마 지그래
ale and gese zambo ra
제세 상보
gese zambo
나가지
and then the further 4-line stanza dedicated to namka gelsen
라마 두인세
there are 7 there in the oral list kadampa
다다진 아니 라마 람림버들 라마 두인 전부 찍고요 와 얘네 매가 흉바와들 라마 주체 지도 소바 찍체 다이 되게 영어들 맹아바가 라마 두 오가담베 라마 되게 아니 다잉어도 야체외 람지리 라주디다 사물 람지 라주니가라 차단 파주고 그래서
parsu ko gure ale lamrim balla gatse ani lama gatse yuri
람림버 라마 두인체
den lase dene di
흉바와라 라마 주체
no
아니 맹아바 라마 두인도와
no
이 첨부세 다도 얘기 다징어도 예원절라 다징 얘기 듣고 요 자진 주주 라마 줍시와
je
줍시왜 되라 와들라 되게 됐음
ale
숨숨숨고
je then there are 7 gurus of the path kadampa 10 gurus of the scripturalist kadampa and to the left then 7 gurus of the oralist kadampa as I have described in the merit field to the right are the gurus of the lineage of extensive deeds. Beneath this lineage, these 3 groups that are 3 collections of the kadampa, these are beneath the lineage of extensive deeds.
다디나시 자진 주주로 거바 나신지 유용원 저거 사모타 주디 와라양 아니 간다베 라마티가 라자고 양조권 거 그래서
And as to the left in the merit field is the lineage of profound view, beneath the lineage of profound view 2, these 3 collections of the kadampa.
다디니가로 거고에 균세디 가르스나 군이니가 냠네디 아니 자진 주주도 사모타 주지가 냠도도 제니 냠네 지기요가 천대를 해서
And the reason they appear beneath both the lineage of extensive deeds and the lineage of profound view is that theirs is the integration of the practices of both.
다디니 마 가담 사와 글라마 가담 사르마 다디바도 가담 닝마 세들 다디네 가담 사마 글라마 수티 오드마 고 그래서
this has been the description of the old Kadampa, followed by the Neo Kadampa, the new Kadampa that are arranged in the field as well.
예, 세다다. 가담바티게 라마티게 꾸두점바 라마야스 꾸는 세트업 아니 랑게 손뎁 체산 뒤지 배장시디 아니 자지 주주기 다 버게 람지 림바테다 계획이 계획다. 아무것도 주지 람지 림바테다 계획 계획도 바라봐 장찬이 아니 랑게 줄라스 예 라마 주베니가 유베게 람게 똑바테다 랑게 줄라 계속 선배 미과 체야 돼. 저거를 해서
The Ningba, the Kadamba Ningbaro.
어.
In the collection of the gurus of the old Kadamba, beneath the lineage of extensive deeds and the lineage of profound view, the arrangement of these collections in merit field is performed, followed by the petitioning of them. After the petition, light and nectar descends from the gurus in these collections. With the descent of light and nectar, all that prevents realization from arising in the mind, that which prevents the realization of the stages of the path of extensive deeds, that which prevents the realization of the path of profound view, these hindrances are eliminated. With their elimination, then all of the realizations in the minds of the gurus of these lineages arises in one's own mind.
오, 진짜 세다다. 엄마이는 람림 치두 삼바다. 람림 치두 람림 손뎁데. 아니 둥글 미과체. 아니 뒤지 배장체. 람림 간다 가두 치기 요바 이나양. 아니 람림 셰바디 주주 튼두지반의 제그마라. 다 망체 조조도 아니 뒤지 배장 미과체네. 냠네 엄마 때 람림 치두 된데 치기 어려서
In the past, during instruction in the stages of the path, the instruction would proceed first with a petitioning of the merit field. As the petitioning is performed, then students would meditate, meditating upon the descent and purification by light and nectar. Whenever instruction was given in the stages of the path, most of the instruction was in the recitation of the petition, the meditation, and the visualization of the descent and purification by light and nectar. And the remaining amount of time would be less dedicated to actual exposition or explanation, the majority of time having to do with the recitation of the 6 preliminaries and the visualization of the descent and purification by light and nectar.
오야 나 앞에 시대가 가담이 유바 숨 시야디 배나 가담 맹아발 차샤바이나 가담 맹아바 생게디 아니 또 랑기 라마게 양곰 로메 곰냠도 곰 아니 곰제 아니 때 라메게 당고 또고만 람게 좀 받게 마 샤곰 제 드시죠 로마로 곰주 아니 로마로 곰터도 로마게 또고 줄래 아니 신에 다주 단조 이 제마데 시에고도입니다 제바체 아니 다시 그 로메 줄라다 디파게 질라도 포네 또고 제도나 아니 신에 마 이 서브젝트 마 람지르 바 제마 진도 시기 어려서
In the tradition of the old Kadamba, of the 3 collections of these old Kadamba, particularly in the tradition of the oralist Kadamba, instruction in the path would proceed with the instructor reviewing their realization and causing the disciple, requiring the disciple to then meditate upon the realization that the instructor reviewed with the disciple. The disciple would meditate and develop any realization that they might. And in the next session, the guru, the instructor, would examine the disciple to find which realizations they had, which would allow for further progress in instruction in the path.
뭐야 람리게 똑바 정해서 방법 어디 신이 된주 똑바디 장 신이 된주 똑바 줄래 깨서는 아니 신의 강바다 마선 고치와 차 아니 신의 가르고 당보대 된조 되제니가 내지는 고주네 바전 드린 된조 되제니가 아니 드네 마지 레준데 드네 마지 아니 대시다 된데든 된데 나도 바전 간제 람리 좀 받게 도스로 장네 로고요 그래서
Where the blessings had penetrated the mind of the disciple, the examination would find that there was reason to proceed in instruction. Instruction began with instruction in proper guru devotion, that is, to open the door to practice. Then this would be followed by instruction in the precious human rebirth with its leisures and endowments. So in the beginning, in the first day, instruction would be in that proper guru reliance, followed by the human rebirth with its leisures and endowments, followed by karmic causality, followed by the four truths of the noble ones, followed then by pratityat samutpada, dependent origination, and so on, the traditional course of instruction.
근데 요말 세상다 니마지가 사는 니마지가 나와지가 선 나와지가 가서 찾아지는 시야로 와서
So the instruction followed by an examination to see where there had been realization in the disciple or not, and then methodical progression. But we don't have the leisure time to proceed in this way. We cover a week's material and move on with the next week, a month's material, move on with the next month.
세상 아주 똑바게만 짓다고 말해. 아주 그때 람림 예생 지당 아주 람림 최신이 제세디 아주 지규기 가나도 밖에 지도비 라바다 셰바도 그때 말했어. 권일 데스 개발이요. 람림 예 신이 생에디 아니 고칸들 샘지리 바지 장네. 고치기 시 아니 지기 장곰 아니 똑바 줄래 깨와 치고 요래서
We don't examine to see whether there has arisen any realization. The instruction in the stages in the path, as we are proceeding, is more resembles ordinary instruction in which one teaches, a student listens, and there's no real examination to find whether there has been any realization developed. But in actuality, instruction in the stages of the path is different entirely from the ordinary sense of teaching and learning. For the first instruction is the first exposure for the disciple to study and then to meditate upon. And then when that meditation gives rise to realization, the next step is taken.
근데 이들도 마찬가지로 아주 당보 걸어 신이 된 주식이 있고 개천부지는 오늘 시 잡고야다 고도고 줄에 깨고치와 세워도 가래서나 강보 신이 된 주기 똑바도 야보지 마게나 남제마되게 줄에 깨마투야다 신이 된 주기 똑바 줄에 깨봐 있는 남제마도 남산 유비 깨두고 여봐 되게 내 여봐 인자 신이 된 주기 걸어 당보지는 시기 열에서
The reason proper guru reliance is the first topic of instruction, and the reason why realization of proper guru reliance is necessary is that without realization of proper guru reliance, all the topics that follow from it cannot be realized. But when proper guru reliance is realized, then all the subsequent realizations may emerge swiftly.
Oh yes, 세상 때도 이도 아주 라메 가스 나도 좀 아주 자침부 제야다 라메기 질럽제야디 라메 가디 아주라다 자치수 차기 열었어 라메 가스기 때 아주 자치수 차고 이제 가르스나 말한 주 제마 몸발로 산계야기 상계는 꾸주배 주로 꾸주비 롱고도 꾸주비하게 다 주 연하면하디 라메게 까지 차게 열어서
So the word of the Guru is most blessed, most sacred of all. It is the source of blessing. The reason why the Vachana of the Guru, the word of the Guru, is most sacred, is most blessed, is that with the realization of Buddhahood, with the achievement of Buddhahood, the Buddha Kaya, the Buddha Body of the Sambhoga Kaya and Nirmana Kaya have for their primary cause the very word of the Guru.
Oh yes, 세상 사티 아무로 컨데스탄 오레스 나나 라메 나당 룽니부디 뭐 타메 대바 라메 나다 송제 뭐 타메 대바디 하이꿀라 제만 당요니 하이꿀라 샤르요니디 롱주조도 꾸싱이디 아니 다 단단하랑도 라메게 디두비하게 주기 쪼디 단단하랑도 년시베게 라메게 까디 차게 열어서
Listen, the lamegi ngak ra sungak sungak di lama dang sungak ni kan di
lung
lung
lung di 가이바
la
lung di 가도 제만 수구두지 주조 이바
oh
하우서
oh
샘디
la
수구두지 주조
ah
룽디 수구두지 주조 이바 제다다 딘데 라메게 송다 나타 본인 고치기로와 룽다 나니부디 지기로와 제다 룽다 나니부디 제마 주고 룽국이 나바 샤니기 제마 룽굴레 그리오니기 룽 참고 들어와 딘데게 룽디 라메게 까디 차대요 까디 제다 제마 마음발로 뭔가 수구두지기 저 유기 바자 년내줘라 어디 차기 열해서
la So how are we to reflect upon this? The very word of the Buddha, as subtle wind itself, is the substantial cause for the arising of the complete enjoyment body, the Sambhogakaya, and the Nirmanakaya. In the listening to the word of the Guru, the word, the voice, speech of the Guru is one with the wind energy. There is the wind energy and the subtle mind. The subtle mind is of the Dharmakaya. The subtle wind gives rise to the complete enjoyment body, the Sambhogakaya and the Nirmanakaya. So therefore, the very spoken word of the Buddha, of the Guru, is the substantial cause for the arising of the Rupakaya of their two forms, the Sambhogakaya and the Nirmanakaya.
예, 제가 다당하고 라메게 까르바디 라메게 까 라마니에 받잖아. 라메 까르바디 룽구도 쭈구 주제 바자샤기요. 제가 아주 마음 발었다. 룽구도 쭈구 신도 semjegi tumi chiyaga chidula sugu namba tengur di sugu di chugur chubyagi yugu zogu di ane lame ka chuba seda lame ka chuba di nyamlengi zogu chagi yore son.
Therefore, following the word of the Guru, achieving the word of the Guru, provides the dormant function that with the realization of Buddhahood creates for the very cause for serving the welfare of others, sentient beings, through the presentation of the Rupakaya with its two forms of Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya. The Rupakaya of Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya is that which serves the welfare of others, and its causes are collected in dormancies through the performance consistent with the word of the Guru.
Lamrim yulam shizun cheba ina kadam lam sawa ke lama zogo de da jero mo chise dinima lama tanda ke chetana lo yoba na hichena lama chugu da nishu yo re so chi.
Up to this point, our topic has been the old Kadamba. We counted them and described the visualization of a descent and purification by light and nectar. Now we follow this with the Neo-Kadampa, drawing the presentation from the swift path. Principal here are Tsongkhapa and sons. In the Neo-Kadampa lineage are Tsongkhapa and sons and 19 gurus or 20 gurus.
Oh yeah, tang to esha ania kana ma sewa ina ma desi ma zoba che chotine che jana ni des khaser do sam ro yoni kadam sarma ge thangati dam des che che an jama ma zo jorju ge chik des ma pejna ma tram an jorju chik de an juju be jami wa che kama chik ni do kom to na ya go yor sam thingi dos dring ga ya sa ge jama dring ga zo di peje di Adichia Marchadani, Kane Maduna, and it took me to a Jama de la Georgiou, and the Kazan sick to Poloche, anything yam to taste then, and Giuseppe Jambicana, Yawi or some Trinket and the Chigi.
Now we will conclude here and we can proceed with Q&A and the debate. That's my hope that we do that. So next week we will resume the Neo-Kadampa count and also if we were to recite the 6 preliminary practices in traditional style of instruction in the path, I think that would be useful. So next time and from here on out, we will do that. We will recite the verses and meditate for a minute or two on the descent and purification by light and nectar. We don't yet have the verses for recitation photocopied and matched with our text, but we'll photocopy them and then we will study in this way, reciting these verses, visualizing the descent of light and nectar in the study of the stages.
Oh, you penny taking one is the penny one sheds how he did not see that. Penny chimbore, Yamne, Chilab chimbore, the Chituna, Yamne Chituna, and Susu, Arji Shiela Pengere, and it's said Yamne Chiela Pengere, and it's all Chishoni, Chima Pengela. That Pembechitu Yamne Resonos.
As I've said, the benefits of this practice of visualization of light and nectar, their descent, is very constructive, very beneficial. This is a very blessed sort of practice. And if we were able to do that, it would be very constructive for us, constructive in eliminating obstacles to our practice, constructive in ensuring success in our practice in this life, but most of all, constructive for lives to come and success there.
And so the delay Yungumare, Kegumare, some of the Tobasa need to do, imagine like Gay, Yobatian, to the Bijan Yametal over response.
ala di self drogros tin yaman sini the dokko di self drogros
미지직 나라 수수게 제투 사마레 사바 어다딩에 전사 마레 사바 디게 투고 마레 사바게 되게 냠네 양 아니 님디 디지베장에 냠네 제바이네 님마직 다와직 되려나 계약이 되게 미바 요래서
Now, if we practice this this way, the doubts that we have that I couldn't possibly do these practices or succeed in this life through the practice of the descent and purification by light and nectar, those very practices that one doubts one's ability to perform and succeed in, one surely will be able to succeed in a day's time, in a month's time, by the force and power of the practice of the visualization of descent of light and nectar. Now, if you have any doubts, let's hear them. I have one. What's your concern? In the Heart Sutra, the Buddha goes into samadhi, and by the force of the samadhi, the Avalokiteshvara, or rather Shariputra addresses Avalokiteshvara, asks about details of the path, and Avalokiteshvara responds, and then the Buddha is said to arise from samadhi. And my question is whether the exchange between Avalokiteshvara and Shariputra by the force of the Buddha's samadhi is for the Buddha the period of meditative equipoise, and then whether at the end of the exchange, when the Buddha is said to arise from samadhi, this is considered the moment of subsequent aftermath. In the sherab nimbogi drawing nanda tambala the sangege nyamsha yeshi gi wangi shari bugi yar chenrezi la country dendri shugi yorwa then the tiwa tilin travel nangirwa then tingen zen dele shingte sere yorwa the tingen zen dele shingte lavna the jetop ki yeshi ki tsundun rebe travel rebe then the kapdela ni sherab nimbugi kapdela ya nyamsha yeshi dan jetop nika tongi duge tongi yorbe
산길로 제도비시도 냠샤 니며
니메와
냠샤 제도비요 말이다. 산지가 돈이 모습도 못도 갑이요 말와. 매상 제도비요 말이다. 직세. 단 이버들라 땡이 들래 상대스 이도 좀 되게 하스나 좀 되게 친질람 이제 좀 되게 이제 T2 세도와 T2 세대 아니 좀 되게 땡이 되게 친질람네스 아니 셔리폴라다 수와타야다 제레스 레자이 니가로 아니 좀 되게 오늘 지나 좀 되게 난 그거 열어와 이나야 좀 되게 많아와세 아니 고라니는 저한테 나가러와 제다디 난 거야디 아니 좀 되게 땡이 되게 친질람네 난 그거 레스 직세 단 이버들라 아니 디 고라니 좀 되게 되게 친질람 거야디 아니 디디도 뭐 뒤제 레 마타니 저 제수 송의 치 아봐 다 뒤제 동반이게 되면 모두 줄 사요 되더라 디 믹스에 저 요마다 동반이게 되면 통화 서로 통화 진이 여러 제수 제수 송의 치도라 좀 되게 어떤 땡이지 진실라면 디 저거 틀린데 총화를 해서
For the Buddha, there are no two distinct periods of meditative equipoise and subsequent aftermath. There is, for the reason there is no moment of the Buddhas that is not direct perception of emptiness. So there is no two-period division for the Buddha into meditative equipoise and subsequent aftermath. Then with the line from the Prajna Paramita Hridaya, then the Buddha arose from that equipoise. This is the verse, the line that describes at the end of the Buddha's having blessed the dialogue between Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, the Buddha caused the exchange through their blessing. The Buddha's blessing caused the exchange. The Buddha would have provided this instruction, but doesn't here. There is a dialogue between Avalokiteshvara and Shariputra, and it occurs by the force of the blessing of the samadhi of the Buddha. Now, why is there a need for a blessing for the dialogue between Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara? The blessing and then the dialogue is for the purpose of causing realization in those disciples who have yet to thoroughly pacify karmas. It is not for the purpose of those who have already had direct insight into emptiness. It is not a dialogue for them specifically. It is for drawing along, gathering along those disciples who have yet to have insight into emptiness.
Yeah, that's about it.
Are there any others?
Oh,
The Charlie has his sword raised like Manjushri.
Who is the legend who then recorded this experience?
아니 니긴 암초 터데긴
응.
디게 다기 페바 느직나 세르여로 아니 다 수레 니긴 수레
이게 다 또 지난 뒤수된 거 실험이 못해 뒤수된 거 주치기가 해서 아니 다게 시대도 뭐 다디나라 파여를 미여를 아마이 요래 아니 최니니 파지 티 장관나 거라 티 망할 얘기 요래서
죄송한데 아니 두디 아니 디가 다게 되버지나 디 아니 두땡 요로
뒤 제가 무슨 야 뒤수된 뭐 제가 해서 아니 이게 다게 더 되지 나서 그러면 이니 디나 다다 새로니 뭐 이니 디나다 코르 망보시라요. 어떻게 생각 다게 생각 되어 그래서
thus did I hear at one time, introduces the moment of the Prajnaparamita Hridaya, the Heart Sutra. It is the introduction of that moment. And as for the auditors, those listening, there are thousands of them. Those who heard are thousands. The retinue was vast. But you and I, however, weren't included. Huh? We are only hearing it now for the first time.
Thank you so much, Krishna. This is wonderful and profound teaching that you've given us. Just one quick question, and it pertains to our practice, or to my practice in particular. There are so many gurus to visualize in the merit field and to ask for the blessing of light and nectar. Would it work if, for example, for me, I at this time I cannot remember them all. So would it work for me if I remember one in each of the groups and think of that enlightened being as the representative of all the gurus that belong to that particular group. So and then if that's the case, I still have, this is my second question, is that I still have I still have the feeling that visualize my guru is the embodiment of all the gurus of all the lineages. So if I should do that, would it work also, or I should do it as the first part that I mentioned, that remember whoever one guru or enlightened being that I'm most connected to for each of the lineage guru groups beside my root guru, or just my root guru is the embodiment of all the gurus of all the lineages.
这一些个确定着我，那我来就是这份的，我让说是个他们这当这位看起去属于呢，or的一些个送的明确开始了呢，的那么的啊。namkala ba dene seta ba sokshin kutsu laso ba kutsu dela ya lama 장매 ba yorwa be mambo yore ta chikchena nge ko lendang kanishik re lana lama denga reje ge nangne reje ge kutsap chik keche kutsap degi gyune gyupa Shripoki yunten mar bepar muna bandere ra de check guba regi sap check gona tes lola shon lawarwa dewe kyan lola shon lawa gariyore lana sosogi tsawe lama kyamne kundugi ngor mötsu yorwa diang che chogrebe jezang nye tiwa garire lana de kogyuge lama pemamu yobache digi nane gyuba reregi kutsap che koshana gandere yangmena digi tsapchene sosogi tsawe lama gyuba chasangi lamagi kutsap chene kyabne kundugi ngor muna tigribe.
이랑 상담하신 지는 되게 어레스 직세 다 있네 단단하도 대시 잡대야 디 쿠란게 람루 찍서와 저는 람루 쿠란게 냠내지 쿠란게 삼루 당주 찍신 시기 여러와 그래서 대시도 좀마다 람루 소신 찍 자단 찍 세다고 여레스 아니 암 수수 땡이 진다 미과 제바 템부 유나 아니 소신 장매봐 공고레스 아주 땡이 진게 미과라 타요 말레스 제가 타 매봐 이제 간다 단단 아주 고민해야 되기도 보라 가서 땡이 진제 자야 치도라 아니 미과 쳐야 돼 시기 여레스
아니 심디 타메바 인상 데 장가메바 데 메바 깡그라
이 알고는 말 이러면
얘네들 죽어 되게 되는 순
뭐 땡이 진게 제 자야 미과 쳐야 치도라 아니 단단 아주 미국 재단 시에디 소신직 차단 세답에 시기 여러 직제 상황 번째 봤어 나 뒤에 아주 단단 미국 망보 제다 뉴제 대마데 계제도와 디 수수가 땡이지 숙체로 땡이지 세마세 이제 개발 거는 프로그레스 땡이지 가져 세우 도구도네 미국 자체를 땅으로 와 땡이지 세우면은 그 수수 미국 지모도 라마 지모도 막없나요 그 되게요
If you were to do just as you described, that would be okay. Now, our purposes here and the explanations that I have been giving is to present the treatise on the stages of the paths, traditional arrangement of the full merit field. So that merit field in its entirety, according to this particular tradition, especially for the person with aptitude in their samadhi they would visualize that entire merit field, and then an infinite number of that very merit field, multiples of it. And the extensiveness of the visualization of the merit field is available for the person in their exercising of their samadhi, where one has an aptitude in samadhi and some clarity in their visualization. One may enlarge the number of members of the merit field or numbers of merit field as exercise in the development of their samadhi, where samadhi is less exercise, has less clarity, then it is fair to visualize the single root guru if necessary. Soching the any sort of lama love mar dugres, then it jamna, and it then Now, as I said, that your manner of practice as you described it is sufficient because all merit fields are condensed in the root guru, and then with the emanation, the replication of merit fields, they are all replicated out of the heart of the root guru. So they are all condensed in the root guru, and they all emerge from the root guru.
Oh yeah, and that no lama yimba number sanje the chaju semba odi nyamledi the dinan kyugo heso.
In short, the essence is everywhere of the root guru, but the appearance in its variety is of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Later, when we describe that self-visualization and deity practice, there'll be more.
Thank you, Geshe-la. You described the consciousness of the oralist tradition of the Okadava, and what you described basically, or outline three, the path, the scriptural, and the oralist, and describe kind of the oralist teaching style. I can kind of envision what the path teaching style is because that's the Lamrim tradition, but the classical tradition or the scriptural tradition, what would that be like? And then also, what types of minds of the students would respond well to each one of these types of teaching styles?
That's the kadamba nimba ki chombu mendawa sum den jawo sungbarwa ta ne mengaba lamremba shungpawa ta de ane lamremba dan ane lamremba dan ane mengaba de ge ane che nian che dang de this go chason 얘네야 ane shungpawa 되게 아니 체년 체당 아니 간데시래 좋아 아니 두자기 감당 몇바 간데시기 제 아니 슝뽀와라 로라 밥용
그럼 슈바선 뜻소 슝기 셰바 또 제네로와 슝기 공부 또 제네 유저는 녀네 제기로와 배낭아도 맹아바스도 다징아도 라메기 맹아 라마 코랑기 녀네 가르치에 또바디 아니 밀부터 시작하고 또바지 녀네 제적으로와 얘는 슝바세디 슝소 배는 아주 산다진에 비중 배제 두 장도 하다가 저 유명한 람림 그 공타사 배제 보라 뒤로와 그래서 되게 람 슝 되게 공부하리 이나 티시송 샤네 아니 유자라 대시죠 냠내 지주고 이번에서 콜라 슝바와서 민다래 송지
드네네 얘기 수요기 지원 각 네버디양 신송
이번 다 가보다 송도
the scripturalist or classical Kadamba school presents its topics and explanations with consistency or conformity with the scriptures, particularly 6 canonical texts. Whereas the oralist Kadamba will proceed in instruction based upon the guru's practice and experiences of realization, which are the basis for their explanations to their students, which then cause the students their meditation and realization. The scripturalist or classical Kadamba takes those 6 canonical texts as basis and presents material from these, taking these as the basis.
오예 나한테 감담만 받다 되게다 그런 저지 단계도 왔어 감담만 받다 사이에 그 온부 뛰버를 취디시 그 온부 넣어를 취디시 되게 되는 개발치는 송아 되게 내주게 말했어 가서 뒤져 수수수 온부를 함정 타sun 그 왕기 아니 산지에 숨고 취디 수수 온부도 팀백이 취 거두고요 레식송
Ale. Ale, lase. Ori.
되는 아주 두다마 시여와
La.
두다마 시기 숨대되게 저 랑주버 저 두다 송여 말와
Jeje.
저 송도 삼아 된데 저 송와를 때 이내 수수기 저도 고알린도 삼아
Je.
아니 두다 시디
네.
제기 삼배 온 중어를 모두 산지가 두다 시 믹스게 송여 말와
Jeje. Je. Then your second question about the temperaments that are receptive to which of the particular collection of the Kadampa tradition. To address this, it should be said that the Buddha didn't deliberately indicate a student of sharper faculties, middling faculties, lesser faculties, and then teach in such a way that it would conform with that, but did teach, and then the temperament of the student would determine how they received the lesson of the Buddha Dharma. For instance, in the 4 philosophical tenet systems, the tenet system wasn't explicitly laid out by the Buddha, but receptivity shaped 4 ostensible tenet systems.
좀 되게 취 수수고 야 취 송고 주어보고 차네 아니 개발 요래스 배낭 아주 콜로 당보 콜로 림바 숨거려 열와 콜로 당보 콜로 니바 콜로 숨바스 콜로 당보가 둘라 또 뒤제리 또 가르쳐야 그랬으나 또 디과 멤버체 그냥 아니 그게 취 송해야 돼 덴바시 송 제가 그 뒤송도 잡았다 또 디과 멤버게 뒤제 치도 송회 치도 송회 취직 도스티 시계고요 그래제 나디네 콜로 바르바 송도 또 디과 첨보 아니 뒤서 제수 송회 치도라 아니 치료를 받고 스코어와 직체 아니 콜로 타마가둘라 다들 시제나 좀 망보여 이내다 콜로 타마를 레퍼드 넘버 치고 콜로스라고 나 저기 콜로 당보를 시교디 된다 된다지 콜로 니벌을 시고 된다 된다지 개벌 친 시바데 저거 숨바스 윤트시 되자고 그래서
지선이 드제기 감나 먹으면 라we 근데
고야 감는 멤버에서 고도 그러와. 근데 좀 내가 송도에서 뭐 채도 송 거야 괜찮. 콜로 당고 송 거야 괜찮지. 또 대과 멤버 제수 송아지 송아레스. 콜로 바르바 송아지 대과 치모 제수 송아지 송아레스. 콜로 타마디 콜로 당보 가도라 송아야 괜찮지. 콜로 타마 바르바 가도 송아야 괜찮지. 바세와 쳇이 시바라스. 어디서 콜로 숨 뜻이 용난 데서.
in the Dharma of the Buddha, reception and interpretation of it is various. And the Buddha presented in the Dharma in the 3 turnings of the wheel. In that first turning of the wheel, that turning of the wheel drew in the Shravaka Yana, that foundation vehicle through presentation of the 4 truths of the Noble One. Then this was followed by the second turning of the wheel that drew along the Mahayana and was for the purpose of drawing in the Mahayana. And then the third turning of the wheel, about which there is much discussion, it is the turning of the wheel of it is the turning of the wheel of carefully differentiated phenomena, in which the presentation and meaning of the first turning of the wheel and the presentation and meaning of the second turning of the wheel are carefully distinguished one from the other. This is the third turning of the wheel.
이제 되게 고르고 근데 꾸는 요는 꼭 삼도 땅에 송아 말 최지당다 송고야 준세들이 이내 이제 수수도 고르도 아니 수수도 감는 말을 때는 최근에 고고요 어디 어디 제가 그래서
No, it isn't then, though, that the Buddha intended this is for this particular individual. This is for that particular individual. In the reception, the disciple receives and interprets differently. And in the diversity and interpretation, this diversity. So the time's almost up, and if there's one more question, we can take one more question, then we'll close.
Yeah,
Okay.
Speaking of study, contemplation, meditation, in English, contemplation meditation suggests very similar activity, mental activities. So I wonder if Gishlo would speak a little bit about the distinction in this consideration, the distinction between contemplation and meditation. How are they different? How do they compare?
Then it was some serious and indicate and some series de dan come series de Dhamma that then you keep
Oh, yeah, Joe, the best.
This is a good question, thank you.
최선 삼바 세종 아주 된다. 삼바 생애대 지당 아주 놀래잖아. 똑바도 삼바 샤라오사. 공바스도 무슨 잘 주세. 대체. 당아주 삼바 세대 빼도 자리나. 퇴배 된다디 제마 주가 냐딩이 쳔바 성조로. 어디를 삼바 샤라. 다 쳔바 디기 심베 된디 랑 셈 줄로 저 자리 셈다 권이 저 자리 냠도 Langentarki and Combas. What was Jaros?
Contemplation is the realization of a meaning. And meditation is the direct experience. In study, one is exposed to a meaning. The meaning or the idea is consolidated so that it may be recalled. When it is, and this consolidation that can be recalled, realized, is the contemplation. And when it is applied to the mind in that application, that is the meditation.
한데 아주 대대다 그저 코로나 covid 시단 제발이나 아무 퇴바서 암조고 년바들 퇴바지 미기 통화들 통화도 퇴바식도 오 통화도 퇴바생이디 고 통고 퇴중다 로드체 다 퇴차네 다 삼로 땅도 잠바 균생을 땡고도나 균생을 땡이 되는데 통고도나 삼중체 균생을 마템바 된 카도 미기 배잘라 통하지 카도 통도도나 아니 뉘앙스 무슨 색이래서
Now, to describe it directly as it is presented in texts, the study is the hearing, the listening to the Dharma. Just as we listen to something, we see something. So the study is what comes from hearing. And then once one has heard, once one has studied, then in the thinking, when one applies some reasoning to a conclusion, this is contemplation. And then when no reasoning or rationale is required, and there is a direct experience of the meaning, this then is the meditation.
That's So
the difference between that which comes from meditation and that which comes from contemplation was or was not clarified.
Say again.
Did this clarify a difference between that which comes from contemplation and that which comes from meditation? No.
Oh, yes.
Good.
And then around the city, the Shiva, the Watoba, Tardu, Chimana Chimachin, Sanju, Sim, you like Jenny, Sanji, to the Chetu Yis, and the Malam Chetunos.
And now, with the virtue accrued from consideration of the practices of descent and purification of light and nectar, by the force of this virtue, may we in our present life bring an end to all pain and suffering and achieve contentment. And ultimately, by the force of this virtue, may we develop the mind of awakening and achieve the state of Buddhahood. Direct your closing prayers in such a way. Page 12. Dharma sumbe zero kundu yang jambe yongi tsewe jizong lembe rinpa kunsang lamgi cho nine rube gena nishi sho rangi jijin tobe lamgi ni shoja tsewe jambe tabi gowe yigi mumba sejine gyawe tenpa yubin zingyuru chik Temba rinchen choge majaba, tyabyan yapara gyube chodene, nyingje chenmo yira tyoyi, pende tete sewar che par sho, peje gyawe me jun chelele, Let go, Janju, Bangye, Rimbe, Kyang. Tarde, Nange, Yiba, Vede, Jawe, Zeba, Rindu, Kyong, Chik. Lamsan, Jube, Dungen, Juje, Gege, Seje, Nidam, Rime, Tera, Kundu, Gyawe, Mapa, Namda, Lambda, Rewa, Magire, Chik. Kanze, Diwa, Jola, Chuju, Sujin, Prabha, Tumba, Dei, Se. Tude, Nange, Tatum, Troche, Raji, Gyaso, Shugun, Gyoguruji. From my two collections, vast the space that I have amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of the paths of the complete teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined, may I offer this treasure of happiness to aid all sentient beings. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long and the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their son. May all human and non-human beings that eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent path never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may he always be assisted by the Mighty One, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. Jinye sabe gewa di tendang rowa kuna wang tentang kebara jesun losan chaba yi tembe nimbo rindu seje sho kari rawe korwe jingang dir tendang dewa malu chungwe ne jere siwan tinze yaso yi shabe side barate dengir chik Jambe babu jidare kimba kundu zambo deyan dejinde Teda gunge jesu dalu gewa deda tanje rado Zun shebe gewa tanje gi mowa kanla chodu mawa Dagi gewe tawa digu gyan zambo jeje rado mowa Chanju senjo rinpoche maike panan kikir chik Geva nyapa mewa yang gone gone beware sho. I dedicate whatever virtues I've ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Drapa to shine forever. In the land encircled by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Chenmo, please remain until cyclic existence is ended. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra realize things as they are, may I dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best, by the victorious thus gone 1 to 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the supreme jewel of Bodhicitta that has not arisen rise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Thank you. And if you were to learn a practice from this lesson, it would be the very practice of the descent and purification by light and nectar. So next week when you arrive with a body that is luminous and limpid. Don't bring anything that is contaminated. Outside that will be outside we have a meal and the weather's nice and we can continue our discussion.